breaking news trashing Cohen's character. Our Kara Scannell reporting tonight that Trump's legal team is expected to go after the credibility of Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, during their closing arguments tomorrow. Cohen, of course, is the prosecution's star witness here. Their case really hinges on his testimony, which lasted days.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. And today we're diving into some hot topics that's been buzzing in the news lately. CNN recently claimed that the hush money trial hinges on Michael Cohen's testimony. Now I'm here to tell you that's not exactly how it goes down. Let's get into the details and see why this case is built way stronger than just Cohen's word. So, all right, here is what CNN is saying. The talk is that Michael Cohen's testimony is the make or break for the hush money trial. Sure, Cohen's involved, but there's a lot more to the story. So Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, has a pretty complicated past, to say the least. He's got some credibility issues that make people question his testimony, as you should. The prosecutor knows this, and they've smartly structured the case so they don't have to lean too hard on him. So, before we dive deeper, I want to address something very important. So referring to this as the hush money trial is actually quite misleading. While the hush money payments are a significant part of the case, the core issue is much broader and more serious. This trial is fundamentally about alleged election interference and falsifying business records. To cover it up, so for the sake of accuracy, I say let's call it what it is, the alleged election interference case. So let's look at the case structure. So how did they structure this case? They've built it upon solid evidence. Right? They've got multiple layers of evidence, financial records, they have documented communications, there's also reliable witnesses. And so, what Cohen is presenting, again, is not the core case. There's a reason why they put the other witnesses first before Cohen. They built up a solid case, and he was just kind of the final piece to the puzzle, icing on the cake, if you will. So let's also talk about the types of evidence. So I guess we can break down the evidence. So financial records, right? These include checks signed by Trump with 12 checks, each worth $35,000 sent to Michael Cohen in 2017. These checks were allegedly reimbursements for the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. They also have documented communications. So that's emails and text messages between various parties, including Cohen and the National Enquirer CEO, David Pecker. Can't make this up. So all these communications show a coordinated effort to manage and suppress negative stories about Trump during the 2016 election campaign, aka fake news. So, surprise, surprise, Trump is the original OG of fake news. So they also have witness testimonies. They have key witnesses like Michael Cohen and David Pecker, who have testified about the repayment scheme and the catch and kill strategy used to prevent negative stories from surfacing. So Trump's former executive assistants also confirmed that Trump would personally sign the checks, suggesting his direct involvement in financial transactions related to the hush money payments. There's also the meeting from 2015 that was discussed. So there was a meeting in 2015, August of 2015 to be exact, at Trump Tower, where Trump, Cohen, and Pecker allegedly agreed to suppress negative stories, demonstrating a coordinated effort to influence the election. So there's also the business records. The prosecution presented falsified business records that labeled the hush money payments as legal expenses. That's also key to the charge of falsifying business records. We can also address the misdemeanor versus felony debate. So some people argue that these charges should only be misdemeanors and claim it's an extraordinary stretch to elevate them to felonies. Let's clear that up. In New York, falsifying business records can be charged as a felony if it's done to cover up another crime, right? Again, in New York, falsifying business records can be charged as a felony if it's done to cover up another crime, like violating campaign finance laws. This is not an unusual practice. In fact, Manhattan prosecutors have followed this approach in various cases, adhering to the standard legal procedures to ensure justice is served. So, if this were indeed a novel or extraordinary interpretation of the law, the defense would have a strong argument in court to dismiss the charges. This suggests that the prosecution's approach is well within normal legal practices. If it were truly an unusual application of the law, pointing this out would be a powerful defense. potentially demonstrating a partisan nature to the charges. The fact that this argument is mainly being made outside of court, where we heard this before, and it's not holding up in legal proceedings, speaks volumes about its validity. So let's also talk about the strategic legal approach. The legal team knows what's up. They've planned this case to stay strong even if Cohen's testimony gets shaky. They've got a timeline of events backed up by hard proof, making sure the story holds together no matter what. We also have the expert opinions. Legal experts agree while Cohen's testimony adds some spice, it's not the foundation. The real strength is in the documented evidence and multiple credible sources showing how the prosecution has thought this through. So let's look at the top 10 things that the apologists, Donald Trump apologists have been putting out there. So they like to obfuscate and distract from the substance of the case. And we're going to talk about some of the things that they've been saying. So first of all, they call it a political witch hunt, of course, claiming it's politically motivated, which they pretty much use that for everything against Trump. Then you have personal attacks on the prosecutors, attacking the integrity of the prosecutors. That is a common thing that they're doing with this case, and I think every case. They're also discrediting key witnesses, focusing on Cohen's credibility issues to undermine the case. Notice the pattern that they will focus on everything else but the substance of the case. There's a reason for that. If the substance was really weak, then that would be the key argument that people will be making. But instead, they want to distract. Why? They also want to highlight uncalled witnesses. So witnesses that were not called, that could have been called, right? They point out that individuals like Allen Weisselberg or Dylan Howard were not called to testify, right? So they're suggesting that they weren't called because their testimony might actually support Donald Trump's argument, and that's the only reason why they weren't called. Again, not addressing the substance. So the other thing they do is the misdemeanor versus felony debate, which we covered already. They also try to distract with other news, trying to shift the attention to other unrelated issues. They also try downplaying the evidence, suggesting the evidence presented is circumstantial or insufficient. They also try to question the legal procedure, suggesting irregularities. Again, we've heard that word before. Irregularities or biases in the legal process. They also try to invoke the statute of limitations, arguing that the charges are old and should not be pursued. They also try to create a false equivalence, comparing the case to other political figures and controversies to downplay its severity. So, when you hear that the alleged election interference case hinges on Michael Cohen, know that it's just a headline. The case is built on rock-solid base of evidence. It's set up to handle any challenges. Justice doesn't hang on a single thread. It's a strong, well-supported case. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Always question everything. Think for yourself. Unplug from partisan media, whether it's liberal media, progressive media, conservative media. Focus on the reality and truth of what's happening in this world and not anybody's ideological vision that they're trying to influence you with. I don't want to influence you one way or the other. I just want to expose you to the truth. I want to expose you to a better way to think critically, right? To question everything, not just things that you disagree with, right? I want to help you in your journey of truth seeking, right? Whether that leads you to the right or the left, irrelevant to my purpose here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.